What's up guys? Welcome back to Streetball Strategies. It's 12 degrees and that's the high for, not just for today, but for the next 2 weeks. Go Michigan. So as I'm recording this, there's major controversy happening in the NBA right now about whether or not we should have an NBA All-Star game in this 2021 season because of the pandemic and COVID-19. There's major controversy about whether or not we should actually have a NBA All-Star game and NBA All-Star weekend. And that made me think about why NBA Stardom shouldn't be your main focus. So I talk a lot about perspective on this channel because I think it's underrated and very powerful. I also have a video that talks about how and why your love of the game is so important. Also, a couple weeks ago I talked about why respecting the game is also very important. My point is that if I ask you, why do you want to play in the NBA? And you say it's because you want to be rich and famous. And then I ask you, well, why do you play basketball in general? And you say, well, it's because I want to play in the NBA. I believe that that perspective is very limited and that it's the wrong perspective and the wrong reasons to have for playing basketball. And don't get sensitive and think to yourself, well, those are my motivations. How could they possibly be wrong? But let me explain.
Music Bank.
I do support the ambition and goal of playing in the NBA. But think about it like this, okay? Let's say you're 14 and you have ambition to play in the NBA. Well, it's going to be at least 6 years before you're even eligible to play in the NBA. And then, assuming you're not one of the top draft picks, which is very unlikely that you would be, you now have to be a rookie and you have to get paid rookie money for the next few years, and you're getting rookie minutes for the next few years. And it's going to be another 3 or 4 years before you stop making rookie money and start making real NBA money. It's going to be 3 or 4 years before you can start getting real playing time and thus starting to get people to see your face and know your name. It's going to be about 10 years before you get to the point where you get that fortune and fame that you're looking for. Do you really think that for the next 10 years, every day you can wake up and think to yourself, okay, I have a bunch of intense basketball activities to do today. I had a bunch yesterday and last week and last month. I have a bunch tomorrow and next week and next month and the month after that. When you ask yourself, why are you doing it? Why are you putting in all that effort and time into all of those intensive basketball activities? And you say, well, the reason I'm doing it is because I want to be rich and famous. I want to play in the NBA and I want that fortune and fame. Do you really think that's going to be able to motivate you every day for the next 10 years? Maybe, but probably not. So number one, that's not great motivation to have if it's not going to sustain you over the long run. Number two, let's say you do. Let's say you do achieve that fortune and fame. Let's say you do become one of the top draft picks and people now know your name and your face. And then a couple years after that, once you can start making real money, you get a huge contract, right? So now you're 10 years in or so, and now you are rich and famous. Well, now you've achieved that goal that you've been striving for over the last 10 years. What happens then? What happens when you achieve that goal and that's no longer your motivation because you have achieved what you were motivated to do? Well, in theory, that means your game is going to start going down because you're no longer motivated because you've achieved your goal. If your game goes down, then there goes your fame, there goes your fortune, because now you don't have the game to justify that fame and fortune. So the perspective and the goal of trying to get NBA stardom and becoming rich and famous because of that, it doesn't seem like a very viable perspective to have. My advice, my strategy would be that if I were a 14-year-old and I was trying to make it in the NBA, I would shift my perspective from the fortune and fame and stardom of the NBA to that mindset and perspective that I want to play against the very best competition on the planet day in and day out. I want to test myself against that competition and see what I can do, see what I'm capable of doing. How can I handle doing that? And by shifting my perspective in that direction, it still keeps my love and respect of the game at the center and focus of why I'm doing it. And in my 30 years of playing basketball, my 30 years of experience out here, one of the things I've learned is that the way to get the very best, the very most out of the game is by giving it your most, by giving it your best, by giving it your all. You didn't start playing basketball because you wanted to be rich and famous. You didn't pick up the ball for the first time and start dribbling and shooting because you wanted to be rich and famous. You did it because you enjoyed it, and then from that enjoyment you developed a passion, and from that passion you developed your love of the game. And because you now love the game, it should be easy, and you should want to show your respect to the game. And you do that by giving the game your all. Always giving all you have, all your energy, all your effort to the game every time you do anything basketball related. Having that perspective will then allow you to wake up every morning, and instead of thinking, I have to do X, Y, and Z intense basketball activities today because I want to become rich and famous, and this is the way to do it, by exerting myself intensely every day, I have to do that. Instead of having that perspective, you now get to have the perspective that when you wake up in the morning, you get to have that basketball experience. You get to do those basketball activities. And you're grateful and thankful for the opportunity to get out on the court and do that stuff, or to study the game or train for the game. You're fortunate to be able to do those things. You love doing those things. You have a passion for doing those things. And because you love those things, it's in you that you want to respect the game. On a daily basis, you get to experience doing something you love. Because you get to do that, now you want to express your gratitude by showing the game how much you respect it. And the way you do that is by giving all you can every time you step on the court, or every time you study the game or train for the game or practice or whatever it may be. You always give your full effort, because that's how you show the game your respect. And I have learned from my experience that that's how you get the most out of your game. NBA or not, if you give the game your all, if you love it, if you show it respect, and by showing it respect, you give it all you can every day, you will get the very most out of the game that you possibly can. That's why NBA Stardom shouldn't be your main focus, because it's not about fame and fortune. It's about love and respect for the game. If you love the game, that makes it easy to want to show your respect for the game. If you respect the game by giving it your all, always, then you're going to get the best and the most out of the game that you possibly can. Whether that means NBA or not, you're going to achieve the apex of your basketball potential. Whether or not that means the NBA, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you respect the game, you give it all you have, and you see where that takes you. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. It really helps me to get through these 12-degree days out here. If you guys did like this, if you did like this video, if you do like this content, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, because it really does help me out. And hit that notification bell so you're notified of the rest of the videos that are going to be coming out on this channel in the near future. New videos every week for new subscribers who may not know that. And until then, I'll see you guys next week.